All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Lakeland Rotary Club. My name is Joel Ivy, and I'm so glad you could all join us. This program is almost going to be announcements today. It seems like we got a bunch to get through. Before we get started, I would like to ask Dr. Mike Loudon to lead us in the invocation, pledge of allegiance, and the four-way test. Of course, Dr. Mike is a retired minister of the First Pres. He is a Paul Harris Fellow, 22-year Rotarian of this club. He's a past president elsewhere and is a board member elect. Dr. Mike, would you lead us in the invocation, please?
Thank you, President Joel. Let us pray. Oh God, you give us hope when everything seems hopeless. You give us peace when the world around us is filled with chaos. You give us healing when pain is closing in on our world. Today we pray for our friend and our fellow Rotarian, Johnny Tyler, as her husband walks through the valley of the shadow of death. May they know the presence of your care and your tenderness. We pray for our speaker, Lana, and we ask that you would open our hearts to the needs of children and their support. Thank you for President Joel and our board and the strong leadership they have given to our club during this very strange year. And thank you, Lord, for our Rotary friends. Thank you for this club. In thy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Our pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now our four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
All right, Dr. Mike, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And appreciate you including Johnny Tyler in that announcement too. That's really sad to hear. So we're going to move into Happy Dollars. If anybody has a Happy Dollar announcement you would like to make, please unmute yourself and speak up. Bashful? I will make one. We made the pronouncement yesterday, and we presented the check for $25,000 for AEDs to the city of Lakeland in the city commission meeting yesterday. That went very well. I want to thank Dr. Melody Ryder and Julie Townsend for showing up. And then, of course, we had our hostage Rotarians, Mayor Bill Mutz and Commissioner Don Selvage were at the meeting already, so they had to show up. But it was a good presentation, and I think it was very well received. And again, I want to just say thank you to everyone who participated in our fundraising events this year. We raised a lot of money. So far, we've given probably pretty close to $50,000 with Feeding Tampa Bay, and then, of course, the AEDs. So we've done a really good job this year so far. Thank you all.
Joel, this is Don Selvage. I want to remind everybody that this is Election Day. Through yesterday, we had some 8,000 mail-in votes for the two candidates. So we're hoping for a decent showing today. You have until, I think, 7 p.m. this evening to cast your vote. Thank you.
All right. And so remember, in regards to that we are voting for Commissioner Don Selvage's seat. This is our opportunity to throw the bum out. It's like his 25th term or something. So you've done a great job for us, sir. Thank you so much.
Joel, this is Roxanne. I'd like to do a shout out actually to Lakeland Electric. I know you take a lot of grief, but your group that did the new poles on Clubhouse Road did a fabulous job. I go that way home and to work every day, and they kept the traffic going. That's a really busy road, and that has that nasty hill on it that's hard to get around sometimes when people are working on it, and they did a fabulous job. So kudos to Lakeland Electric.
I agree.
Yeah, thank you, Roxanne. That's just part of our ongoing storm hardening efforts that we're making to just be ready for the next hurricane that might show up. So thank you for saying that.
Joel, I have a couple if no one else does.
All right.
The first one is that Diane and I welcomed our second grandson into the world yesterday, Emery Tyler, and his mom, our member, Stephanie Bowes, is doing great.
Excellent. Did you have another one?
No, those two, they came together.
Oh, okay. That was the same one. So fantastic. Congratulations, Jim. That's awesome.
Thank you.
President Joel, it's Amanda. I'm going to follow up on my happy dollar from last week and announce that I'm happy both Michelle Ledford and Chuck McDaniel actually won at the Chamber Honors event last week. Michelle won Businesswoman of the Year, Chuck McDaniel won Businessman of the Year, and the highest honor that the Chamber awards is the George Jenkins Award, and our own Dick Mason was the recipient of that award this year. So I was very happy and proud Rotarian at that event.
Absolutely. That was a great event. Congratulations to everyone. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move into announcements. Jack Lohman is a little bit under the weather, so he asked me, I'm a poor substitute for Jack, but I will try to get to the announcements that he wants to make. In regards to having our meetings at 1916, he's going to send out a poll. Well, you're going to get two emails, and it might look a little confusing. One of the emails is going to be a poll about going back to the church. So the church is requesting that we don't show up with 5 or 10 people that want to eat. If we can get a big enough crowd with people that are going to be participating, then they can open the kitchen up, and we can get the service going back again that way. So look for that poll coming in email. There'll be a lot better details from Jack in how that's going to work. We're actually going to need to have volunteers that will participate because they lost all of their help due to the pandemic, and nobody wants to come back because you can make more money not working right now, apparently. So we got that going for us. And then he's going to send another email out about our meeting at 1916 next week. It's going to be more or less a menu. So you get to pick what it is that you want to eat. This changes the pricing structure quite a bit. And so hopefully we can get more people to participate that way. So you're going to have to let Jack know what you want to eat, and you'll pay for your meal when you get to 1916 on that particular day. So look for those two emails. Irma, would you mind walking us through where we're at with the Rotary Cares and Stars?
Yep. So Rotary Cares, as of this morning, we are in 10th place in the district. There are 22 clubs participating. We've got 14 members of our club participating so far, and we've collected 3,175 pounds. So we have a ways to go if we want to really amp it up. The district so far has collected 62,962 pounds, which translates into 31.5 tons, and the goal is 50 tons by the end of May. Linda Johnson, who's put this whole thing together, sends her thanks. She thinks you're all awesome. And Winter Haven is in the lead, and Tampa is in second place. So we have an alternative. If you don't have any stuff to clean out of your house and you want to participate, you can make a financial contribution to any charity of your choice. We're going to use the 4-way test here. Just tell me the amount either that you donated, or give yourself £5 credit for every dollar you donated. So either way, just get me your name and the amount in dollars or the amount in weight, and that'll help us along. That's it on Rotary Cares a ton. I did want to just slide in a quick mention on the Rotary license plates. They're available to pre-order now, and we have to have at least 3,000 pre-orders in order for them to go into production. And right now we only have 171. Now this is statewide. This is not just from our area. So, and it's $33. I went on yesterday and signed up for one. So there is a link that either we can show you or I can put in the chat box. It is floridarotarytag.com/order-tag-voucher. And that's how it works. You just sign up, you get a voucher, and if we hit the 3,000, then you will get an email and it will tell you how to go about actually getting it. And that's what it looks like. I sent Amanda a slide of it. Kind of cool, yeah? Joel, you want me to keep going?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little quick update on the STARS project. And I sent Amanda some slides and she can just breeze through them, and I'll tell you, there were 4 of us that showed up Saturday at the Boys and Girls Club, and it was warm, but it was fine. This is the building that we're working at. There was a palm tree to take down, and Dan had a chainsaw, but it couldn't get through the tree itself, so we took down all the palm fronds. And I've since made contact with a gentleman who's done some work for us from Central Florida Tree Care, Billy Pearsall, you may know him. He has volunteered to come out and take down the tree, what's left of it. And then there were 2 other trees out in front. You'll see in another picture, those 2 right there. He's volunteered to come and take those down. So I'm really excited about that. Erica was queen of weeding. There were these planters that I guess Lowe's at one point had donated vegetables, and we're going to have to paint some benches still. We did a lot of weeding. We did a lot of trimming. There was an antenna you'll see in a minute that was covered with vines that Dan Hill got up on a ladder that he brought with him, and he was able to get that down. So that's all cleared away. Huge trash pile for the city. We removed a couple of wooden loungers that were trash. They wanted us to get rid of this basketball hoop, but Dan discovered that it was really just the base that was a mess. So we're going to try and replace the base. So we took that off. There's the 4 of us. DG Mark got roped into this. So you can now see from that picture where the antenna's gone. And we picked up a bunch of litter. So still to do is if we can replace the base of the basketball hoop. There's some skirting on the trailer that needs to be replaced. We have a sample piece and how much we need. There's a storage shed they'd like us to clean out and organize. There are 6 metal benches that we're going to try and get painted. We need to do some weeding and kill some weeds, so we need to get some weed spray. They'd like us to paint the ramp and the front steps, and they have the paint and the brushes and rollers. They would like us to power wash that concrete pad out in the front. They have a power washer, but if we can bring another one, it would probably move along a little quicker. They have extension cords. They asked for a 100-watt bulb to put by the front door. And they'd like us to replace some cushions on those redwood chairs that you saw in the back of the building. There are 4 of the chairs, and the cushions are 20 by 20. There is a slide in the playground area that we could build up in front of the slide. Might be nice because it's really deep. There's where the skirting needs to be replaced. And if we want to replace some of the plants, depending on how much money the STARS people want to put into this. So that's basically it. If any of you want to come and help us, those are the benches that need painting. The 22nd, 8:30 a.m., probably till about noon. The more we have help with, the faster it'll go along. They provided us with cold water, which was really unexpected and very nice. Those are the cushions we need to replace. I wanted to thank Gwen Allen, who gave us the suggestion for this project, and our STARS class member, Anna Gillespie, who had a contact with the president of Boys and Girls Club, and they actually made this all happen. And that's it. If you need directions to find it, because it's tricky, a couple of us missed it because it's like not right next to the school. It's around the school and down a road, and the sign is small and it's easy to miss. But anyway, thank you all very much. And I'm done.
All right. Thank you very much, Ermi. We appreciate the good hard work by the STARS class. That's an awesome project. You guys are doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nate's not online, I don't think. We sent an email out about bylaws changes, and it's pretty common sense stuff that we're looking to make changes to. We're going to be seeking a vote on those. We can't vote until 10 days has gone by. So be looking for more feedback on that as we go, but please check out the bylaws and just know that we're going to need to make a vote to make those permanent. And it's good, easy changes. So is Todd online? Do you want to talk about the annual dinner? Bueller. Okay. We are having the annual dinner on June 22nd, so mark your calendars. This is going to be at Lone Palm. Just be looking for some correspondence on that. We can get that set up, but we are looking to do that in person and get back together and have our annual dinner. So please be looking for that. Finally, Jack wanted me to announce that we're having team trivia night May 27th at 6:00 at the Heights. So mark your calendar for May 27th for team trivia. You got to get your own team put together, and you can bet that Jack's probably going to send emails out on that as well. Now, you would think this is my first time because I totally overlooked we're supposed to introduce guests and visiting Rotarians. So we're going to go backwards in the agenda just a little bit. I'm going to ask Trey to take care of that for me real quick.
Good afternoon, everyone. I see that we've got Doug McCall, our visiting Rotarian. Do we have any other visiting Rotarians or guests today?
Yes, we have Shannon Eichenberg that is visiting with me so that she can hear Lana's presentation today. And don't hold this against her. She is a Kiwanian.
And welcome, Shannon. Thank you for coming. Do we have any other guests or visiting Rotarians?
This is Debbie Burdett. I do have a guest. Cheryl Kelly is one of our vice presidents here at the Early Learning Coalition.
And welcome, Cheryl. Any other guests or visiting Rotarians?
Yes, Gwen Allen asked that we introduce Ryan. He will be on the call today, and she's not able to be on to introduce him. So welcome, Ryan.
And any other guests or visiting Rotarians? Okay, thank you, and welcome to everyone.
All right, thank you, Trey, and welcome everyone. I never make mistakes during these events, so this is the first one ever. And that's not the truth. That's not the four-way test. I failed. We're going to move into our program then. The program is going to be introduced by Michael Huff. Mike's the president of Precon Construction of Florida. He's currently on the board of directors, and Mike is a 6-year Rotarian. So Mike, would you do the introduction, please?
You bet, I'd be happy to. Our guest speaker today is Lana Swartzwelder, and I met her when I was on the board of directors for the Leadership Lakeland Alumni Association, which she is still president. Lana is a lifetime educator and a businesswoman. She's president of LJS Learning Solutions and CEO of the Libitor Fund for Children, a nonprofit focused on funding agencies that work with at-risk children. Lana's worked for both nonprofit and profit arena. She began her career in education as a teacher and taught for 15 years. She then owned and operated a Sylvan Learning Center for over 21 years. After selling Sylvan, she purchased Young Biz Florida, a pioneer in financial literacy and entrepreneurial education for youth 9 to 21 years of age. After Young Biz, she became a principal of her private school in Lakeland, and after leaving that position, she started LJS Learning Solutions and became CEO of her family foundation, the Libitor Fund for Children. This was an opportunity to use her business expertise and continue being connected with children and families. Lana has a BA in elementary education from USF, an MS in early childhood education from Nova Southeastern, an ME in educational leadership from USF, and she's certified in early childhood, elementary, gifted ed, and educational leadership. She's been recognized for outstanding customer service, an outstanding educator, and a woman of distinction. Lana also believes in giving back and enjoys being an active member of the Polk County community. Her current community involvement is Leadership Lakeland Alumni President, Leadership Polk, St. John Newman Finance Committee. And Lana, I hate to say this, but you know that one whatever wipes out all of your. She's also board of directors for Lakeland Kiwanis. Lana, all yours.
Okay, I have to share my screen, so I may need help because I've not done this. Can you see? You can't see my screen, right? You can?
Yes, yes.
Just start your slideshow from the beginning.
I know, but how do I need to make it the whole? Oh, here we go. Okay. So I'm really excited to be here. And what's amazing is I know more people, I think, in your club than I know in my Kiwanis club. But, and we're going to get that Kiwanis thing out on the floor right now. Yes, I'm a Kiwanian, and I figured the only way I could speak would be that your speaker couldn't make it Tuesday. And I walked into Kim Brunson having her nails done, and she said, "Oh, by the way," that was Saturday, "could you speak on Tuesday?" So here I am. And I hope to be able to just give you some information on what's happening with the children during the pandemic, and maybe open your mind to thinking about giving more for our agencies. But who's caring for our most vulnerable children? You know, the ones that can't take care of themselves, right? They can't speak for themselves. They aren't in charge. It's you, your family. You know, when you take your kids out to pack food for Kids Pack, or you involve them in some giving back opportunity, your organization, look at all you're doing. My goodness, just in that 2 minutes, that was a lot that you're constantly helping. And of course, the teachers, the grandparents, the parents, it's a community, and nobody is really more important than the next person when it comes to caring for our children. They don't have to be ours personally, because, well, actually, kids in our community are our children. Today, though, I want to focus on the heroes that I feel are the heroes. These are the leaders and the staff of the nonprofits that have kept these programs going during the pandemic, when they lost all their volunteers, their funds were limited, they couldn't have fundraisers, and they had to figure out a way to keep services going. You know, like Roxanne and at the Central Florida Speech and Hearing, you know, the need for therapy doesn't stop. So they had to find a way to do it through teleconferencing. And so these agencies kept these children and families immersed, and what their needs were the best they could. So they provide human services, and if they can't provide a certain service, they refer the services. So they make themselves aware of what's out there so they can share. You know, they're all trained and educated experts in their fields, and I think that's how and why they were able to work under such stressful, strenuous conditions, but always in a positive and caring manner. And I know that because I talked to them all the time and worked with them, and you know, they were always finding a silver lining amongst the devastation that was happening for the kids and families. So let's talk about the effects of the pandemic for a minute. You know, with the economic downturn, the business closures, increase in unemployment, reduced incomes, all of that led to an increase in child abuse, human trafficking, mental illness, hunger insecurity, academic slide backwards, homelessness, and there's more. But when I would talk to the different agencies, asking where they saw the biggest need, these rose to the top. So I'm just going to go over a few of these. Child abuse is absolutely on the rise. There's more children being removed from toxic situations caused by the pandemic than ever. Experts are telling us, though, that we don't even know how many kids are actually being removed or being abused, because it was the schools and the teachers and the staff, churches, mainly the schools, that were looking for signs and then reporting. Well, the kids that aren't in school, many of them are being abused in isolation. We don't know yet what that number looks like. So the industry that works with child abuse, they're asking that you, the community, play a huge role in looking for child abuse signs. And I'm not going to go through those now because you can look those up, and many of you know. But as much as we don't want to hurt somebody we might know that's involved in child abuse, we always have to remember that the child comes first, and they don't have a voice. So increase in abuse means more children being removed from their family, more foster homes are needed, more beds in the institutions. So that causes another situation where getting quality outreach and training in a crisis is difficult. And so some kids end up in foster care that probably isn't appropriate. So there's a lot more money needed for this outreach, and then to have the staff to monitor what's happening with these children in the foster homes or foster institutions while they're waiting to either go home, which if they go home, that usually happens within 6 to 9 months. The programs provide services for the parents to help them get their kids back. But for the kids that are waiting for adoption, their forever home, they are usually waiting about 2.5 years in foster care to be adopted. But now that wait time has increased because in the pandemic, with the closing of the government agencies, delays in legal proceedings, as well as getting licensed in a timely manner, there's a backlog now and a longer waiting time to get these kids moved through the system. Mental health. Well, May is Mental Health Month and Awareness Month. And I reached out to Peace River and asked them what they are seeing so I could get you more pertinent information in Polk County. So she said there's an increase in referrals for clients with recent sexual abuse. There's an increase in self-harm, up to 50% through cutting, suicide attempts, suicide. There's been a surge in anxiety and depression among children and adolescents. And it's not only in the children, it's also with the parents. And half of the parents that were polled by Child Trends said that they were under a lot of anxiety. And when you're around somebody that has anxiety, you feel that anxiety. And sometimes you know what to do with it, sometimes you don't. As an adult, the children definitely don't. And so many times parents are under stress, kids are acting inappropriately, and it just causes child abuse, neglect, domestic violence, other mental health issues. So mental health is up, or mental illness is up. Child hunger. So we know that hunger has been one of the biggest need has been for food. And this community has stepped up to provide that money and food and taking care of that need. But the problem is that there's so much of a need that it hasn't been taken care of to the extent that we'd like it to. So there's the positive side that we're all giving. But I talked to Kids Pack, and Amy Rawls said that they've seen a 51% increase in requests from the schools for more backpacks with food for the kids to have on the weekends. In 2019-2020 school year, they served 1,070 kids. This year, they're serving 2,298 kids. So being hungry, we all know is, uncomfortable. But it really can have long-term effects on children. And it's important that they not just have food, but healthy food, because the implications of eating poorly or not eating are physical and mental health issues. Academic achievement fails. Well, not fails, but the children fall behind because they're hungry, they can't focus. And then all of that adds to a lack of future economic prosperity. So child hunger, it's not just it's nutrition is important. The food's important. When you're giving, I would suggest to an organization that deals with hunger, if that's where your passion is, research it, see what they do, make sure your money goes where you want it to go to feed whomever you want. Homelessness in Polk, I bring this up because I think because we don't see the kids that are homeless or know who we see them, but don't know who they are. I wanted to show you that 2,650 homeless students right now in Polk County, which is up 500 from last year, and that are living in, budget motels, their car, somebody's couch, sheds. The thing is that number is not even a real number because they can't find all the kids that are homeless. So there's still kids out there that aren't going to school and haven't registered. And these kids and families, they live in, think about overcrowded situations, which causes stress, right? Nobody has any private space. The kids don't have the materials they need to sometimes do their school projects, to study. I know one kid told me that, they had to study by the car lights. So their inability to complete assignments relates to falling behind in school. And the statistics show that they're usually, and not of course everybody, but the average child falls 2 to 3 years behind academically. Now I'll leave you with this big number. The average age of homeless is 9 years old. So education has certainly been affected. All of the things we've talked about, plus cause a child to lose focus, not be able to express themselves. Isolation, there's nobody to help, or the parents don't know how to help. So what's happened since the pandemic is that there's gaps in academic skills. So, if you're behind in something and you're in it with other people that aren't behind, you feel really stupid. It affects your self-esteem. And with children, they either withdraw or they act out, which means now they're causing trouble because they're behind. Realistically, teachers can't catch up these kids in class because they have standards to meet for the school year. And these kids are still struggling from what's missing from the past. And then you have possible retention and then dropout. And so it's a snowball effect. Luckily, we have supplemental education. And thank you, Pam Craven and Learning Resource Center. Supplemental education is really the answer to help fill these gaps in so the kids can get to grade level and start to build their self-esteem again and graduate and become community members that are participating and giving back. So don't forget when you want to give to education, and early childhood is critical. And those little kids that have had to learn from home aren't learning, and they're not developing their motor skills or any of the other skills that have to be even how to get along with others. So on a positive note, I'm going to jump into that giving and philanthropy and tell you that it's up. And so we have people that are giving more than ever. We have had a 2% overall increase in giving, but I do want to preface that with the large nonprofits are getting most of the money, and the smaller nonprofits that, they don't have the development team and they can't have any fundraisers, they don't know how to do the virtual, so they're seeing a decrease. So when you're thinking of giving to in your community, think of some of the smaller agencies as well. There's 12.6% increase in new donors. Online giving is up 12.1%, and it's predicted to continue to go up because all the nonprofits have made it so easy to give online. And then 46% of millennials say they will give more in response to the pandemic, compared to 14% of the baby boomers and 25% of Gen X. Whatever those numbers are, high or low, they're still all positive numbers because it's telling us that every era is going to give. The government made it helpful to give to charities by coming up with the CARES Act of 2020. And that's where you can take a standard deduction, an additional deduction over the standard of $300 for charities. That has to be a cash donation. Can't be a thing. You can deduct up to 100% of your adjusted gross income, where before it was 60%. And you can give appreciated stocks or property and avoid capital gain taxes. So when you're going to, before you pay your taxes, before the year's over, think about the agencies that, where your heart is. So I'm going to tell you real quickly about who we are, the Libertor Fund for Children, and then I'll answer any questions to the best of my knowledge. My brother, Doug Libertor, and his son, Scott Libertor, they live in Sarasota, and they were, or are, businessmen, philanthropic, and they were always writing checks and giving to organizations that help children. And after a while, after many years of giving, they decided that they weren't sure where their money was going and who was getting it and who was benefiting and how. And so they said, we want to be more connected. So they sat down and decided to put together a foundation and then make it a 501c3. So 2015, we took that on. My brother, Larry Libertor, he was an advisor, and then I came on as CEO to run the agency. Can I go backwards? Let's go back a minute. Our mission is to make a difference in the lives of at-risk children, eliminating barriers for their success so they can realize a brighter future. At risk of what? Well, most of those things that we talked about earlier: homelessness, abuse, illiteracy, hunger, trafficking, developmental delays, mental illness, anything that would stop a child from realizing success. So who do we support? Nonprofit agencies that provide services for the at-risk children or disadvantaged children. I vet all the charities before we approve any grants or we do any sponsorships or even promote the agency. First, to look at their effectiveness, their cost efficiency, their transparency, and their general need for funding. Once I've done that, then I go visit the agencies and see what's going on. Here I am at Peace River at the ward for the room for the children's therapy for mental health. We listen to their needs. That's my brother and my nephew at Salvation Army. And a lot of times after we listen to everything and maybe see where they're asking for money, maybe have suggestions on how they can make that money reach more children and families. And so we work with them a lot to expand. We stay in touch and follow up after. They have to do a final report. We make sure that the project's been completed or the money's been used as asked. Here we are at Parker Street Ministries with the Summer Career Group. We promote and offer awareness opportunities through all our social media with statistics and just so this is Mental Health Month, and so we'll start promoting awareness for mental health. We provide collaboration opportunities in person. There's a bunch of our heroes from the community, from our Lakeland community nonprofits, and we all got together. And I think that was the first time, and they've met 3 or 4, and it gives them a time to brainstorm and talk about best practices and meet each other and learn about each other's agencies. They just don't have time It's so difficult just trying to keep everything afoot and afloat on day to day. So giving them this opportunity to come for a long lunch, helps them reconnect and we hope rejuvenize. We also started a forum on our website for them so they can communicate with each other. And we work with agencies from Sarasota or from Newport up through Polk County. And because I had to bring Polk County in there because I live here, right? And so we work with lots of agencies here in Polk County. So the last thing, we started the Youth Sports Scholarship, which is a separate piece. And when my brother, Larry Liberatore, passed away, we wanted to do something and leave a legacy in his name through the foundation. And of course, we're for children 0 to 18, so it had to be something involved with children. And because of his opportunity in sports and getting a scholarship to the University of Florida, doors opened for him that probably would have never opened. And his passion and love with sports and what it did for children. So we decided to have the Larry Liberatore Youth Sports Scholarship. And that allows young athletes to participate in sports camps and travel teams and any sport activity. So each participant has to submit an application, meet criteria, and it can be we started out with just the nonprofits referring the children. So we help a lot of foster kids who's, there's no money for them to go play sports. But now we've opened it to individuals. So a person can apply or they can do through their family. Since we've awarded 29 scholarships, and these are actually kids who have received scholarships, except for this one. I take that back. We gave scholarships for the Wounded Warriors to play with, for the kids that have amputees, to play with the sports team with baseball. So we give that money is like a separate pot, and we usually have a fundraiser called Superstar Party here in Lakeland, but we had, of course, put that on hold just like everybody else. So hopefully next year, because we want to keep giving to the kids. It's saving many of their lives by keeping them off the streets, and that's what the kids write. So I'm going to let John Burton kind of encapsulate who we are. He did this introduction for us to the spirit of philanthropy, and I'm going to end with this.
Lana, I'm going to need you've got to pause your video real quick. You're going to have to go in where it says share screen. There's a little up arrow that'll give you a menu. And you also have to share your computer sound for us to be able to hear it. All the way down at the bottom in the Zoom menu, share screen, or there might be.
It says new share? No, share screen. Then what? It just says you're share screening.
Yes.
Should I click on that?
No, you've got to find the menu option that allows you to share computer sound. It might be under more where the 3 dots are.
Oh, here. Board. I'm sorry, everybody. Share computer sound.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I've not done this on Zoom.
All right. Perfect.
One of the reasons that we nominated this group is that they're very much supportive of collaborative activities. And in fact, our nomination was a collaboration between Achievement Academy Parker Street Ministries, and Baptist Children's Home. So it's really a reflection of the impact that this organization has already had on our community. They actively are engaged in and around our community and many others. They come into our schools, they learn about who we are, what we're doing, what our mission is, and they promote all of that to support our efforts. So it's just a wonderful organization. I think the thing that stands out to me in terms of the people who are involved in this organization is that they genuinely care. They genuinely care about who we are and the needs in the community, and they are absolutely committed to helping at-risk children. So they are truly helping all of us make a difference. On behalf of the Achievement Academy, we sincerely appreciate the interest and the support of this organization, and I know that Parker Street Ministries and Florida Baptist Children's Home feels the same way.
So that's it. And I do want to say that you can see all the agencies that we support. They're on our website so that they have a place. So if people go to our website, they can see, and learn about the agencies that work with children that we support. So with that, I'm finished and I'll take any questions.
I don't see any questions in the chat box right now, but they might come in a second. So give our folks a chance to catch up. But Roxanne Bonta did want to say thank you for sharing this vital information and what a blessing your organization is to the community.
Oh, we love working with them. They're the best. I have to say it is such, with all the sadness, having the opportunity to work with, I think, these angels that are there truly for the mission has been so uplifting for me.
Questions, Amanda? No. Okay. All right, Lana.
There are none.
Okay. Thank you. Lana, thank you so much for sharing this with us. We've heard from businesses that have been impacted. We've heard from adults that have been impacted, losing their jobs and different things like that. Just one thing or another that's just been due almost entirely to COVID. So to continue to keep this awareness going is just very, very enormously important that we're all having that conversation. So thank you for sharing that with us. And you really had us until you said you were a Kiwanian. Then we just
I know. I had to get it out.
Then we just kind of fell away whenever you said that. But no, I seriously, thank you very much. I'm going to send you this Rotary book. It's going to convert you to being a Rotarian in the near future, I suspect. But it's just an empty book that you can fill with your own words and memoirs and what have you. And I hope that you get good use from it. But it's a token of appreciation from our club. So thank you very much.
Thanks. Thanks so much.
Trey, let's move into thanking our guests and visiting Rotarians, please.
I'd like to thank our visiting Rotarian, Doug McCall, and our guests, Shannon Eichenberg, Cheryl Kelly, and Ryan McKellen. Thank you all for coming, and we hope to see you again.
All right. Thank you all for coming. We appreciate you. Our weekly quote, the proverb says that providence protects children and idiots. This is really true. I know because I have tested it. That's not from me. That's from Mark Twain. The next week's meeting will be at 1916. It'll be hybrid. Look forward to seeing you all there. And absent any protest to the contrary, we're going to call this meeting adjourned. Thank you all. Have a great week.